Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare 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 Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharane nirvishesha sunyavadi paskatya desitarini. Prabhupada ki jai. So, yesterday we heard half of this wonderful pastime, and today we will hear the rest. We heard in the Lila of Kaliya about anger, how anger is like a samadhi but upside down. An interesting analogy, because there is complete absorption in a single thing, and so much energy when one becomes angry, it focuses, it targets on a particular thing that has made one angry. So I used to read this pastime when I was a young devotee and always wonder how it could be that Indra, he's not an asura, he wasn't sent by Kamsa. How could he become so angry? He's a deva, king of the devas. He's the head deva. He's in charge of all the devas. How could he become so angry that he wants to kill Krishna? I used to think that this was it was inconceivable. It was a little bit unrealistic that somebody could become so angry. But then on thinking and hearing and meditating more on this pastime, and also on life in general, I began to see that anger is so powerful that under the influence of anger, anyone can do almost anything. And to add to that, Krishna himself intended to make Indra angry. He was working at it. With his super divine powers, he wanted Indra to become angry. And why did he want Indra to become angry? Because he perceived that within the heart of Indra there was like a mountain of pride, a hardness. Sometimes we experience this for ourselves. We feel in our heart something very hard and very unresolvable. We don't want to shift. We don't want to deal any other way with a certain situation than the way that we want to do it. And this is generally caused by pride. And how, Krishna explains, how did he become so proud? Well, of course, in the general sense, we know that becoming the powerful king of all the devas is a great opportunity for pride, because there's so much power in your hands. And sometimes they say power destroys one's good qualities. But Krishna pointed out a particular defect in Indra. He noted that he had been accepting this Indra worship from the residents of Vrindavan for a very long time. And he pointed out that these people were his people. These are my people. This is my father. This is my family members. And I am worshipped by Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma and all the devas, even Indra himself. So how is it that he can be accepting this worship from my people? Because even though they're just gopas, just cowherd people, they're infinitely superior to Indra himself. So this is very mysterious. They don't appear superior. Indra has such great might and power and prestige, and so many people follow and worshipping him. And these are just cowherd men and women, simple people, but living in the transcendental land of Vrindavan. So accepting this kind of worship from them had led to his own feeling of such self-importance. So Krishna was going to be consciously neglectful and indifferent to him. But far more relevant than that, far more relevant than what he wanted to teach Indra, was that he wanted to initiate a wonderful festival, a form of worship that would be so joyful and so wonderful, and it still exists all over the world 5,000 years later. Even we, fortunately, participate in this wonderful Govardhan Puja, or the worship of Govardhan Hill. So please hear now how the Giriraj Devata, who told everybody in Braj not to be afraid and that he would always protect them. Please hear now what happens next. Now you have to watch out that you don't jump this around, okay? Thank you. So when the Govardhan festival was completed, the people of Braj, they did not want to leave. They wanted to remain always with Krishna. Everyone was there with Krishna, and he had told them just what to do. And they had done it. And when they were on the Govardhan Prikrama, walking around Govardhan, their eyes, everyone's eyes, were watching him wherever he went. And their hearts were only thinking, whatever he wants, we want to please him. But nevertheless, they slowly returned to their villages, all talking excitedly amongst themselves about the wonderful festival that they had just taken part in. Meanwhile, sitting amongst the demigods, Indra felt sad and distressed. He wondered why the whole day had passed and no puja was offered to him. So he sent his servants to Vrindavan, and they wandered about here and there, listening to the talk of the Braj people. And they were not at all happy with what they heard. The whole community was in the same mood. They were all of one mind. And this is what they were saying. Giriraj is such a great Devata that he accepted all the offerings that we made. And then he accepted them all and he gave them back to us as prasad. He talked to us and he offered us so many blessings. For so many generations we worshipped Indra, but he never became satisfied. And he never came. And he never showed himself to us. So what is the use of that worship? From now on, we will only worship Giriraj. He is the biggest Devata. Indra's spies thought that the people in Vrindavan had gone mad. Returning to Indraloka, the majestic abode of Indradev, they informed Indra, who asked them what they had heard. They said, this year's celebration was several times larger than previously, with so many offerings, feasting, music, dancing, and singing. Who was being worshipped? Indra inquired. The servants replied, "My lord, a mountain was being worshipped. All your offerings were being given to a pile of rocks." "What?" said Indra, and he trembled with rage. Look at the pride. Look at the pride of these villagers. Under the influence of a talkative, ignorant, stupid child, they have dared to offend me. I am so powerful. My glories are spread in all directions. Because these men own a few cows, they have become so proud. They do not even have proper homes. They dwell in the forest. They're forest dwellers. And yet they have offended me. I was maintaining them happily by regularly giving them their rain. But now they have forgotten. They must be taught a lesson. I will show them their mistake. Using my Vajra, my thunderbolt, I will smash that mountain to pieces. And then all those people will be destroyed. There will be so much flood that no one will survive. They have offended me, and I will teach them a lesson. I will destroy them. Indra furiously called for the Samvataka cloud, which was the cloud that was specifically used at the time of universal destruction. And this cloud is always kept under strict control because it is so dangerous and so forceful. And Indra sent his messengers and said, "Call that cloud to come to my court immediately." So the cloud in a personified form came, and Indra addressed this dangerous and formidable cloud, saying, "Within you, you have the ability to destroy the whole creation. But this assignment is to destroy only the village of Vrindavan. Go immediately." All the clouds were frightened. But on Indra's order, along with the other clouds, the Samvataka cloud started marching towards Vrindavan. From the north, these black clouds appeared on the horizon, and thunder started to roll very loudly. Seeing these dangerous omens, the men of Braj brought all the cows into the barns. Then a vast bank of clouds blocked the sun and covered Vrindavan in total darkness. Now nobody expected this, and people were running around screaming in the darkness to find their children. And the cows were crying for the calves. Where are the calves? They couldn't find or see anything. And everyone was in a panic. The gopas and the gopis became so scared. And some gopas were saying, "We did not worship Indra, and now He is very, very angry. But others were saying, but Krishna gave us this new puja. Anyway, now it seems that Indra is going to destroy Vrindavan. Then the rain began to fall. The drops of rain were moving so quickly, so fast through the sky, that they formed a continuous river of rain was pouring down all over Vrindavan. The stream of water was streaming through the whole universe. The cows tried to shelter their calves under the blanket of the loose skin around their necks. And the fierce rain and the hailstorms, when they would land on the horns of the bulls, they would smash, and the bulls would look up with angry, reddened eyes. While standing in this painful condition, they looked towards Krishna for shelter. Full of pain, they said, "Oh Krishna, you always save us and give us happiness. And now we are in the greatest danger. This devastation seems like the personification of a big anartha that we cannot remove. Only you can deliver us. Therefore, we surrender to you. Please, please, save us. Save us." Shri Krishna replied, "If Indra sends a great hurricane to destroy us, then Govardhan, the king of all mountains, will give us full protection." He called all the people to go to Govardhan, and they all hurriedly arrived there, waiting for Krishna to rescue them from this grave danger. Krishna consoled his family and his friends. He said, "Do not be afraid. For your benefit, I will now enact a special pastime that will destroy Indra's mountain of pride. Don't be afraid." Instantly, Krishna picked up Govardhan hill with one hand. The lifting of Govardhan hill produced an angry, loud, roaring sound. And there, resting on Krishna's finger, the little finger that he wiggled at Indra as he ate all the offerings and said, "You are as insignificant as the small finger." With that same finger, he lifted up Govardhan hill. Giriraj served Gokul as a jewel-bedecked umbrella that could not be moved even slightly by the forceful, fierce winds, or pierced by the razor-sharp lightning bolts of Indra. Pulling Balaram to his side, Sri Krishna said, "Please enter underneath this hill." Out of love for Krishna, all the cowherd people at once entered underneath the hill. Krishna told them, Since Giriraj ate all your offerings, is it difficult for him to remain suspended in the sky? Is that difficult? Even a child can easily pick him up. See, he's sitting on my hand like a small piece of cotton. Therefore, collect your property, come under the hill. You will see there is no difference between the village of Vrindavan and the valley below Giriraj. Be happy and stay here peacefully, and let this place become the source of joyful pastimes for you and the cows. Taking their wealth, their wives, their sons and daughters, the cows and the bulls and the calves, and the Brahmins, all of whom felt immeasurable happiness, they entered the splendid valley beneath Giri Govardhan, where they became filled with surprise and delight. Now we may think that if we lifted up a hill, if we could, or if we had some powerful machine and we held it up, what would happen? There'd be so many roots and rocks and debris that would fall down. And under there might be snakes and scorpions and all kinds of other things. So it would not be a good place to stay. It would be a place for very austere sadhus maybe could stay like that. But we wouldn't want to be there. But when the people entered under Govardhan Hill, they were astonished at what they saw. Fields rich with green barley spread in all directions for the cows. And there were lakes full of crystal clear water. The ground was covered in jewels. There were jeweled staircases and beautiful cottages made out of jewels. It was so beautiful under the hill. This divine place could easily accommodate all their innumerable cows and animals and family members, easily. The cows remained on the border of this improvised town, and they pastured on the fields full of green grass. Outside, there were fierce rainstorms with raging winds and massive hailstones, deafening thunder, and lightning flashes violently crisscrossing across the sky. And inside, there was no rain, no danger, and most important, no fear. No fear. Instead, there were sweet voices, attractive songs, and Krishna, whose beauty was the only focus of everyone's attention. By continuously drinking the nectar of the beauty of the sweetness of Krishna, the residents of Vrindavan felt no hunger, no thirst, and no tiredness. And Krishna, seeing their happiness, also forgot altogether about eating, drinking, or sleeping. Giriraj had become like a huge house. And let me tell you what was the most extraordinary thing. This is amazing. Although the people of Braj, there were millions of them from all the villages of Braj, although they spread out in every direction, You can imagine how many people were under there, and lakhs and lakhs and lakhs of cows. Perhaps we would feel that maybe if I was under there, I'd be right at the back, and I'd be trying my best to see what was going on, because there were so many people. But every single one of those people and cows could see Krishna clearly, as if he was right in front of them. And every single one of them thought, Krishna is looking only at me. How wonderful. This is the perfection of all relationships, the perfection of everything. The Brajabasis began to think. Now they had a chance to think as they're sitting, standing, looking at Krishna, and they thought to themselves, right before our eyes, we can see this inundation taking place. The rain pouring down, the thunder, the lightning. We can see it. And right before our eyes, we can see the clouds that are causing this great storm. And right before our eyes, we can see all the destruction that's being caused by the storm. And yet, also, right before our eyes, we can see the deliverer of all of us from this horrific storm. Although they were in such a dangerous situation, they had not been even slightly defeated. This is very important for us, because we may see danger in our lives. We never know what's around the corner. The world is such that there could be danger at any time. But if we can remember how they felt, if we find ourselves in danger, then we also will be protected by Krishna from fear. Beneath Giriraj, there was singing and recitations of Vedic hymns and dancing by skillful performers. And all the brahmanas were chanting auspicious prayers. This was all going on. And they were offering charity under the hill. And the children were playing. What happiness did the lifter of the mountain not give them? What did he not give them? And outside the hill, huge clouds sent by furious Indra poured incessant rain, and fierce hurricane winds were blowing. But not even one grain of dust was washed off the surface of Giriraj. After 7 days of fierce rainstorm and continuous thunder and lightning, Samvataka cloud had completely failed to flood the area because Krishna would immediately dry up the water as soon as it landed on the ground. But shameless Indra still retained his fighting spirit. So he sent his spies to Vrindavan to find out about the destruction that he expected would have now occurred. And his servants returned and they said, "Oh my Lord, we have seen a great wonder. Having consumed your offerings, this hill has become so powerful and is standing up so tall, and his body made of stone is resting on the hand of Balaram's younger brother." Indra, what? So he sent more spies. Then he said, okay, so what happened to the people of Braj? And the spies went back and they looked around and they couldn't find anybody. And they went back to Indra and said, all the people have been destroyed. Ah, said Indra, good. And then he said, go again and make sure that everything is destroyed. And they came back. And there they were. And they looked around. And then they looked under the hill. And everyone was there. And then they told him that everybody is there. Nobody has been even feeling the slightest amount of distress. And Indra was still furious. He still wouldn't relent. And he sent more of his most powerful weapons to destroy the hill. He said, okay, if they're under the hill, I will smash the hill and they'll all die. And he couldn't. And when he failed to do anything, he began to think in silence. This must be Lord Vishnu, who has appeared as Krishna and is holding up that mountain. Because I was proud, I was defeated. A proud person is always defeated. That is the way of the world. Then, reconsidering everything and understanding what he had done, at least slightly, Indra told his servants, call the clouds to come back and stop the storms immediately. Then, with sorrow, his pride destroyed, and filled with doubt and remorse, Indra entered his palace. But now he found his home was like a living hell. He was unable to find any way to live with himself. Meanwhile, the danger had ended, and Krishna told the people, O residents of Vrindavan, your village has now returned to normal. Everyone can leave this great palace of Govardhan hill. Then everyone came out, and they watched and waited for Krishna to come out also. Krishna ordered the cows to all leave with his eyes, and they all left. And then they turned around and they saw that he was still there, and they all ran back again to surround him. Again he gave a gesture to them, and they understood, and they all left. And then Krishna, in the same way as he had lifted it, he placed Govardhan hill back on the ground as before. Everyone saw this, but nobody could understand how it was done. Those 7 days had felt for Indra like 7 millenniums of intense pain. And to the Brajavasis, to Krishna's family members, they seemed like 7 joyful hours. And as for Giriraj, let me tell you about Giriraj. He was not the least disturbed. Instead of being harmed, his rocky body was now beautifully cleansed. And all the rocks were shining and glowing, and fresh green grass was growing up everywhere. By lifting Govardhan hill, Sri Krishna showed that he was superior, not only to Indra, but to all the demigods in the universe. Back to Indra. He hurled powerful thunderbolts at Giriraj to smash him to pieces. But in the end, it was as if those thunderbolts had been hurled at his own head. Anyone who tries to attack Krishna's devotees will find their future taking a sudden change for the worst. Indra was feeling he couldn't find any peace. He didn't want to go to his assembly. He didn't want to see his wife and family. He didn't want to do anything. In fact, he even considered suicide. He was suffering so much. Then he went to Brihaspati, who's his guru, and he told him what he had done. And Brihaspati said, I don't know how you could have done this. He said, because of this, all great sages will all close their ears when they hear your name. He said, this offense is so severe. It's so severe. I can't help you with this. The only person who may be able to help you is Lord Brahma. You should go and see him. So embarrassed and lamenting, Indra went to see Lord Brahma, and he described exactly what he had done. And when he heard what had happened, Lord Brahma also was very, very embarrassed to hear what he had done. And he criticized Indra very strongly for what had taken place. But he said, there's only one way you can get free of this terrible offense you have made. And that is to go to Krishna himself and apologize. But if you go by yourself, he will not want to see you. So you should take with you Surabhi from the heavenly planets, the mother of all the cows, and ask her, she's your aunt, ask her if she will intercede on your behalf. When Indra came to Surabhi and bowed down and told her what he had done, she too was completely disgusted. You tried to kill all the cows. But it was her duty to help him. So she came with him, and they came to Vrindavan, to Govardhan, and Indra was so highly embarrassed. And they were walking around, and Krishna, as a young playful boy, on this occasion he'd found a little spot that was secluded, and he was waiting there because he knew how embarrassed this great Devata was going to be, and he didn't want to embarrass him any further. Krishna is playing Nara Lila, so he's thinking of himself as a little boy. This is the great Indradev. So he waited in a secluded place. And Indra came, and first he asked Surabhi, you go first. So she said, my lord, please hear my words attentively. You are famous throughout the universe, and you are worshipped by all. Even if hundreds of angry Indras try to kill the cows and the gopas with ferocious clouds pouring torrents of rain, you will always protect Gokul and the cows and the residents. Therefore, we do not wish to accept Indra anymore as our master. We want you to become our Indra. Indra means master. We want you as our master. Then Indra stepped forward, and he fell down, like we heard, like the tree that is cut at the base, at the root. He fell down in front of Krishna, and his majestic crown touched those soft lotus feet, whose effulgence was greater than the effulgence of the jewels on Indra's crown. Then with fear and devotion, in his heart, he gazed at Krishna's toenails that glowed like moonlight. But he was unable to speak. I acted out of intense anger because you stopped the sacrifice that was to be held to satisfy me. Krishna looked at Indra. When Indra would not speak, Krishna did not speak. When Indra spoke, then Krishna spoke. And Krishna smiled at Indra and he said, if proud demigods are to be worshipped merely because they enjoy celestial pleasures, then why not worship drunkards who are enjoying in a similar way? I did not punish you. I only saved my people. Then Krishna said to Indra, my Lord, you became too proud because you were receiving puja from my family, my father, and my relatives. You were being worshipped by those who I worship. By breaking apart your yajna, I have given you great mercy. I did this so you can understand that you have an overseer. You have a master and a Lord. By nature, I cannot bear to see my devotees possessing false pride. Using your intelligence, act properly. Indra listened to Krishna's compassionate words and accepted his kind chastisement. And after respectfully circumambulating him, he wanted to leave. But Surabhi stepped forward. Remember, she had said, we want you to be our Indra now. We want you to be our master. Because you love the cows, and Indra had tried to kill us all. So therefore, we should have a Maha Abhishek and crown you as Govinda. Govinda. And so all the Deva ladies and all the Devas and everybody stepped forward. They all came down from the heavenly planets. Lord Brahma came to preside over this amazing Abhishek festival. And golden and silver arti paraphernalia appeared everywhere. And beautiful chamara fans. And the young Devis, the young maidens of the heavenly planets, took part in bathing Krishna. And the mothers offered their most beautiful jewels and gifts. All the demigods offered gifts after gifts after gifts to Krishna. And meanwhile, Krishna, a little bit, he was appreciating. But a larger part, he was thinking, where are my friends? So he stood there And he accepted all this formal worship and gorgeous offerings and so on and so forth. And then when everything was over, they all left in their different carriers and went back, very auspicious and happy. And Krishna looked around to see where the boys were. And the boys were playing up somewhere, and they came wandering in where Krishna was. And they saw these chamara on the ground, silver things, and they saw the ghee lamps, and they said, hey, we should do an abhishek. And so they started fanning Krishna and laughing like anything. And then they were going like this with the ghee lamps and laughing, and Krishna was laughing. They'd push each other and laugh and have so much fun. And everyone was happy again. You see, Krishna loves that. He's not so attracted to the formality, the opulence, the grandeur, as he is to the intimacy of the heart-to-heart love of the residents of Vrindavan. And so they collected all these things over their shoulders and so on, and they were going home. And Nanda Maharaj was coming out, as he always does, to see where is Krishna? Where is he? All day his mother and father are thinking, when will he come home? Where is he? They go up on the roof and they search around to see the first signs of the dust that is rising from the cow's hooves. So they came out to greet the boys, and the boys had all these extraordinary things. And Nanda Maharaj said, where did you get these things? And Madhu Mangal, he said, you know, I saw it. I was actually hiding. I saw what happened. All these big people came. There was one on a swan, and another one came. He had eyes all over his body. And they all came, and they started doing all this worship of Krishna. And Nanda Maharaj is thinking, how can this be? How can this be? Anyway, he said, nevertheless, he said, since you have bought all these wonderful items, we should have a festival tonight. And we should worship Krishna. We will feed him milk and bathe him in milk. And we will have a wonderful festival to please Krishna. Because Krishna's pleasure was the only thing that they cared about. And so this is the wonderful pastime of the lifting of Govardhan Hill. And every year when you do your Govardhan Puja, you should remember this pastime, because it's filled with so many wonderful instructions and jewel-like experiences that you can learn from. And most of all, it will teach us, as we were saying in the very beginning of the class yesterday, if we want to transfer. Now we think this world is fun and the spiritual world is difficult. Difficult to get there. A bit of hard work is involved. But this world is where our attention lies. And we're asked to translate that and change that until we understand that being with Krishna is full of enjoyment. And this material world, by its very definition, as we heard, it's full of little pinches and inconveniences. So we should live in this inconvenient world, remembering that all happiness resides in remembering Krishna, even whilst we are here. So here we heard something of the miseries of material life earlier in the class, in the morning class. And now we are hearing something of the joy, the happiness that is felt by the hearts of all those who have learned how to love Krishna. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. As we chant now, when we have our Govardhan retreat, we have the readings of the Lila pastimes at night. And so at night it's a little bit easier because the day is finished and our mind has become a little more quietened. And so we have a kirtan at the beginning to prepare us, then we hear about Krishna, and then normally we could turn off the lights for the final kirtan. And Sri Radharaman Prabhu or Sachinandan Maharaj will lead us in kirtan, in which we can meditate to the best that we can on what we have just been pictured, the pictures that have been created by the words describing the pastime. And sometimes, for those who are fortunate, these pictures during the kirtan, they go very, very deep. So let us try.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Krishna Krishna, Hare
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Everyone.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.